Okay, I'm going to call the meeting in order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody. Everybody's here and we'll be watching maybe later on. Again, as usual, if you have your phone, please put it on vibrate or off. Appreciate it. Roll call. Today I'm going to start with Commissioner Stephen.
Here.
Mr. Culberson.
Here.
Mr. Cos.
Here.
I'm here. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
All right. Public comment. I think we have one. Joe, come on down. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Happy New Year.
You too.
Yeah.
Joe Herring Surveying, 315 North 5th. I have two rezones on the agenda today. Both went through the Planning Commission, I believe, at 7-0. And staff will address that. But the one off Leavenworth Road, just to reiterate, was the comp plan is 3 units per acre, and they only ask for a 2.5 acre zoning. It's less dense, but the infrastructure is not there. And it's one of the areas that was discussed at the Planning Commission to take areas that are so close to the floodplain out of the 3 units per acre and out of the floodway. The other one is a super large tract of ground, 250 acres, off of Wood End in the area that is anticipated to be developed. The owner is aware of infrastructure upgrades, water and everything, and he has spoke to those companies and aware of the cost and everything that will have to happen down in that area to get this accomplished.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, now I think he's the only one. We'll move on to administrative business. Mark, do you have anything?
Nothing today.
County Commissioners? Anybody on this time?
Yeah, it's after
Go ahead,
the
Doug.
first of the year. I guess I don't know who I'm addressing this to I guess Mr. Lawfrey. Do you know if we received our boat counts for all the boats that are parked in our county on January 1 from all the special use permits that have boat storage?
I'm not aware if we've received any of that information. I'm skeptical that we would have, though.
Well, I thought was that part of some of these conditions on their SUPs that we would get that?
I don't think it was a condition necessarily, but it was something that when they came in and asked for the SUPs that was one of the reasons why they gave for getting the SUP.
Well, I guess it's a law, I guess. It wouldn't have to be a condition because it's wherever it's parked on the first of the year, isn't it?
Yes, so that is how the taxes are calculated, yes.
Just wondering, looking for some tax dollars.
Okay. Good question. Thank you, Doug. Anybody else?
I just have one
ahead,
comment.
Mike.
I just want to put this on the agenda for when we reorganize next week. I am going to bring up a motion to televise our work sessions. I'd just like you all to consider that for next week. Give that some consideration.
Okay. Anything else, Mike? All righty. We'll move on to consent agenda. Any item need to be pulled? If not,
I move, Mr. Chairman, that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
motion second, discussion. Didn't even have to look down. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Mr. Cos?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
All right.
Okay, formal board action. Consider a motion to approve Resolution 2023-1, a rezone request from RR5 to RR2.5 located at 19266 Leavenworth Road. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner and Commissioners, or Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. New day for me. Before you is a request, 2023-1. That is, as you mentioned, a request to rezone from RR5 to RR2.5. As Joe has already indicated, this property is actually identified as 3 units per acre in the comprehensive plan. They were requesting for a rezone that is a lesser density than what the future comprehensive land use map has indicated. Staff was in support of the rezoning due to that fact. The Planning Commission did consider this item in December, and they voted 7-0 to approve it based off of the findings of fact. I believe that Joe has also indicated that they intend to separate a 2.5-acre parcel for the intention of building another house on this property. That is what staff was indicated in the narrative. So if you have any further questions, happy to answer them.
Commissioners, any questions?
So I know we're getting ready to review the comp plan, and this was in the comp plan is 3 units per acre, pretty high density, and there's no sewer out there. So is this going to be a recommendation you believe in the future to change all these that are 3 units per acre back to the 2.5 acre area?
It could be. I believe what Joe was referencing in regards to the floodplain was the fact that there are certain properties on the future land use map that are in the floodplain and still designated as a 3 units per acre. Development in the floodplain is certainly something that we don't want to encourage. You can do it. It costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of oversight, and I don't think it would be in our best interest to advocate for that type of development in those locations.
Okay. Well, the sewer would have to come from Tonganoxie. And trying to think back on the comp plan, if Tonganoxie would have submitted anything about their comp plan or future growth that would indicate that there would be sewer out in that area?
I don't believe that we received any of that information going through the comprehensive plan process. Of course, the future land use map is a map that's designed to take us the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. So within that time frame, potentially they could. As of right now, I don't know if there are any plans to extend sewer that far.
Okay. No, sir.
Any other commissioners? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 2023-1, a rezone request from RR5 to RR2.5 located at 19266 Leavenworth Road.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Roll call. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Mr. Cos?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Okay. Next item is consider a motion to approve Resolution 2023-2, a rezone request from RR5 to RR2.5 located at 20682 and 00000 195th Street.
All right. Again, before you is Resolution 2023-02. This request is for 2 properties, 20682 and 195th Street. This is a substantial property. In fact, it's well over 100 acres. The property is currently zoned Rural Residential 5. It is located within an area on the future land use map that has it designated for residential or 2.5 acres. Based off of the information provided to staff, this is intended to be some estate planning for future development. Once, as they indicated, sewer or utilities are extended out to this property. Because staff did recommend approval based off of the future land use map designation, the Planning Commission also considered this in December. They too recommended approval on a vote of 7-0 based off of that. Again, if you have any questions, let me know.
Commissioners?
Mr. Herring mentioned some infrastructure upgrades for this. Is he talking about the road or water?
Well, the road would be looked at when they go through the subdivision process. So if there needs to be any upgrades, that would be the time that would be determined. It would be the water. Since they are proposing lots that are less than 3 acres, they would have to have access to water from a rural water district. They couldn't be able to get a well, so they would need to be able to extend that line out to where they want to split off these 2.5 parcels.
Okay. But I thought the BZA approved well to be on 2.5 acres.
For one specific property, but the regulation in place is that you have to
Okay,
have.
but water's close. I think there's a large water line on County Road 25.
Yeah, they would just need to extend it down Wood End.
Okay. And then I think our map's wrong. Commissioner Culberson, can you see that? Wood End, south of I-70 on County Road 25. It shows it as blacktop. Yeah. It's not blacktop.
Yep.
It's a gravel road.
Yep. Looks like the map's wrong.
Oh,
Oh boy!
Matt
Oh
can't
boy!
be wrong. We can't be wrong. So I guess we won't have to upgrade that road. Huh?
Who was in charge of those maps?
I know.
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Oops.
Anybody else?
Ready for a motion?
Yeah, I am.
Motion to approve Resolution 2023-2, a rezone request from RR5 to RR2.5, located at 2682 and 00001 and 95th Street.
Motion and second. Any more discussion?
Like I
Go
said
ahead,
last week when I talked about the rezones, these meet the comp plan. You're going through all these public hearings and all that, and basically the planning commission is going to have to vote to support the comp plan. So I'm just saying. And this last one was over 100 acres. So we hear a lot of people saying, "Hey, we want to preserve agriculture." But there's very few people out there that are stepping up and buying the ground to preserve it for agriculture, because you can. But there is a few out there, and I think the few out there that are supporting agriculture or preserving the agriculture, they need to have a little less stringent rules. This is just food for thought when we review the comp plan.
Yeah, and I thought that was one of the things on the table when we were going to do it, like you said. Yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Cos?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Presentations. Sherman and Reno Township Fire District Consolidation Request. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. Name's Kirk Sowers, here today representing Reno Township as trustee. Have a letter of intent here that Sherman Township and Reno Township have jointly signed. Should I read this letter?
Sure, I don't see why not. Go ahead.
Okay.
On record.
This letter is to formally and officially give notice that Sherman Township and Reno Township, located in southern Leavenworth County, Kansas, hereby declare to the Leavenworth County Commission and all parties concerned of our intent to begin the legal process to unite the Reno Township Fire Department and the Sherman Township Fire Department into a united fire district to be known as Leavenworth County Fire District Number 2, in order to better serve the citizens of both Reno and Sherman Townships, to include the city of Linwood, should they so choose. And then signed on this date by all the members of the township, both township boards, plus the fire chiefs.
Okay.
We did approach the city council at Linwood. They have been notified. They indicated that they would be formally requesting to join the fire district. So, as we told them, nothing will change if they don't. They'll still get the same service that they're getting now. Of course, Sherman main firehouse is in Linwood. So anyway, this is going to give us a better opportunity to serve the citizens there. So, do I submit this to Mr. Chairman?
David, is there anything, or Mark, is there anything, once we notify, what is our part in this now? That we've just been notified?
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, fire districts can be formed by two means. One is a petition submitted by the property owners of the proposed fire district. The second is for the Board of County Commissioners to determine whether or not to form a fire district on its own volition. What the city, which Reno and Sherman Townships are requesting is that you go through the latter path, that is that the Board of County Commissioners consider forming a fire district of Sherman and Reno Townships. The county's role would be to consider whether the formation of a fire district is beneficial. If so, it can join Reno and Sherman Townships into a fire district. The contemplation would be that an interlocal agreement would be reached between Sherman and Reno Townships and, likelihood, the city of Linwood, whereby they would undertake the governance of the fire district. The statutes that create fire districts by default make you the overriding authority for a fire district. However, you can assign and delegate that responsibility to a body created through an interlocal agreement. similar to what was done with Fire District Number 1. The real key element is, I think, the contemplation of the board that I've detected, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, is that the county would facilitate the formation of a fire district, but it'd be really up to the townships and the city to reach the terms under which the fire district would operate, but that the board is supportive of increasing fire protection services, and we'll do what we can do to facilitate it. I can't give either Reno, Sherman, or City of Linwood independent legal counsel because I'm not their attorney, but we can certainly facilitate the matter and bring it to your attention. Given the timelines, the contemplation is that formal action on this, one way or the other, would need to be completed by the end of March, so that the public hearing that is required could be completed by the end of April, and that the final formation would take place before the budgetary deadline of July 1.
Okay.
I just have one question, and it's a little bit of a facetious question, but
I'll give you a facetious answer.
could they decide that they wanted to be Fire District 1 once we dissolve Fire District 1?
Much like divisions in the Army are numbered, you give a number to one and it keeps that number.
Okay, just like a sports team.
Only you would come up with that question.
Well, Mike, I would just add to your facetious question is my firefighters have requested to be labeled as Fire District Number 2.
Oh, number 2.
At the end.
2's a winner.
Okay.
Thank you for all you're doing.
So do we need to make a motion that we accept this letter?
Or do we just wait till we get this in front of us formally?
Commissioners, you could direct staff to undertake review of the letter and prepare the steps to set the matter for public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I think it's a smart move. Any other discussion on that? Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Mr. Cos?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Towers.
Thanks for the update.
Do I leave this with
Yeah, you can leave it over there. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this board recess from open session and go into a closed executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel as justified by KSA 754319B1 and to protect the privacy interest of the persons involved, and that this board resume open session in the meeting room at 9:35. Present in the executive session will be Commissioner Jeff Culberson, Vicki Cos, Doug Smith, Mike Stevens, County Administrator Mark Lawfrey, and others as invited by the board.
Second.
Motion and second. Okay, I'll call roll. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Mr. Cos?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Okay. We're heading in executive.
Let the record show that the board returned to regular session at 9:35. No action was taken. No decisions were made. The subject was limited to non-elected personnel.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Additional public comment. Mac, we're going. You going to come up, sir? Good morning.
Good morning.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Let us have it.
I won't take that long.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, you know who I am. My name's Mac McCowan. I'm a Leavenworth resident. The reason I'm here today, on 15 December, I read an article in the Gateway Pundit, and it troubled the hell out of me. And it basically, the title was, The Albert Sensor Systems, How Government and a 501c3 Track Real-Time Election Data in 98% of U.S. counties. And it goes on, this article goes on to claim that Albert is a black box server installed on the county's network, and that it collects data flowing on their election network, and it sends all this data to a nonprofit in New York. It also goes on to say that they call it a black box because the counties know very little about the system, and they're given no dashboard to see the activity, no reports on what data is captured, and not even what Albert, the system, observed. And it also goes on to say that Albert is free to the county, but the county has to sign an agreement with CISA to get it. And so this article makes a lot more allegations in it, and rather than just take it at face value, I decided I would contact our election officer and try to find out, one, do we have an Albert, or have we ever had an Albert? And two, do we have a signed agreement with CISA, or have we ever had a signed agreement with CISA? Well, that was almost 3 weeks ago that I emailed our election officer, and I haven't heard anything from her. During that time, I have exchanged email with Mr. Lowry and Commissioner Cos, but my questions still remain unanswered, so I thought I would come here today and try to find out if we indeed have an Albert system or any type of signed agreement with CISA, as alleged in this article.
What is an Albert system? I don't even understand what that does.
It's a black box server that allegedly, according to this article, and you guys all have this article because I sent it to you on the 17th of December. But allegedly what it does is monitor our election data. Now, the reason, I just figured this would be a yes or no, a simple question. You know, when I sent it to our county election officer, I figured it'd be yes, we have it, or no, we don't. But I haven't got it. And I don't know, Mr. Lowry, do you know if we have one or don't? I figured somebody would have done some investigation on this once I sent this almost 3 weeks ago. But it's pretty troublesome to think that we have the federal government involved, if this is right, in our election systems.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Well, we'll just have to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I don't know.
I'm not aware.
And I'll gladly go home and send this all to you guys again if you want.
No, I got
Yeah, the
it.
last 3 weeks has been a little busy. You know,
Yeah.
That might have slipped through the cracks. But we'll
Okay.
look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just think the citizens of Leavenworth County, if we have anything like this going on, that we should know about it. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Yep.
Okay, I don't think there's anybody else. Okay, Mark, do you have anything for the group? Okay, Commissioners. Stephen, do you have anything for the group?
Yeah, I have a couple things. I talked to Senator Tyson about the property taxes, and she is developing a bill that will be similar to the one. I mean, she couldn't really tell me what all is going to be involved in it because they're drafting the bill, but she thinks that we'll be pleased with the bill that she's drafting. So when they get it drafted, she's going to contact me and we'll get a copy to everybody. And I did mention to her the LAVTR, and her approach would be to put the LAVTR towards the 2.5% that is the state portion of it, rather than send it back to the counties. So that would be a different approach. She said that would guarantee that everybody would get property tax relief. So anyway, that's one approach. So I also got, this is something from Senator Tyson. During the 2022 session, there were many changes made to tax law. One of these changes was a property tax freeze for low-income seniors and disabled veterans. In order to qualify for the freeze, the household annual income must be $50,000 or below. A homeowner must be 65 years of age or older, and the value of the home cannot be above $350,000. A veteran must be 50% or more disabled for the entire year applying for the property tax relief. Property taxes are paid to the county, and then a person may apply for a refund on the increase. The freeze to the Kansas Department of Revenue. And they have a website that this can be found at. It is at kansasrevenue.gov. You could find out about that. So she just wanted us to remind everybody that they did pass some provisions to help folks, especially low-income folks. Also spoke to, when Congressman Watkins was in, we had him call in every once in a while, and I was speaking to a staffer for Congressman LaTurner, and they said that the congressman might be willing to do that every 6 weeks or every little while. I just wanted to see if is that something that the rest of the commission.
Yes.
We can stand by and hold our meeting.
I felt like we got a little good back and forth when he did call. The last thing is a town hall meeting in Linwood regarding what to do with the Linwood Elementary School, and that'll be on January 12th at 6:30 at the Linwood Community Center.
School district holding that, or just the city?
I think it's the city council.
Did they give the building to
Did
the
they?
city?
No.
I'll find out all the information at that meeting. I don't know for sure, but everybody's invited down in the South Park to talk about it. So,
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, on the Senator Tyson deal on the 50,000. Is that a 50,000 annual income for the individual, or is it? For
it's in order to
combine, or what?
Household annual income must be 50,000 or below.
That's not much, is it?
Well, if it's a husband and wife, they're not going to own a home anyway on 50,000.
Well, I mean, this is the first step. This is like a first step.
Yeah, we're
And
just
then
encouraging
any
people
house
to
in
get
Leavenworth
divorced
County is
in their senior ages.
That's below what our house is at.
Right.
I mean,
turn
it's
65,
Right,
terminate
that's
your
what I'm
marriage.
saying.
You go free shirt.
So you can be on
One plan does not fit across the whole state of Kansas.
Well,
I mean, I understand what they got to do.
That's logical.
Our
There's
area
just
is
a lot of
definitely
pieces.
unique. Our area is unique.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Jeff, do you have anything for the group?
I had the Leavenworth City Council meeting last night, and they expressed an interest in the LAVTR actions that we're getting ready to do something about. So I'm going to reach out to them and talk to them about what
Great.
our plans are and if they want to get involved. Also went to the Military Affairs Committee that Chamber of Commerce puts on periodically. I think it's monthly or quarterly. Had a conversation with General Beagle. He's the new
he's neat.
commander at Fort Leavenworth about pilot checks. He was unaware of what those are, but very interested in. So I've got scheduled with his staff to go over pilot checks, payment in lieu of taxes.
Yep.
You know, as you guys know, Leavenworth County is worth about $8 billion, but about $3.5 billion is tax exempt federal property that we don't get any tax money from. So 65% of us are paying all the bills. We could drastically lower everybody's taxes if we were to receive pilot checks like they do for Department of Interior facilities. So I'm going to reach out to his staff and talk about that. That's about it.
No, I don't have anything.
I just have one thing. As one entity is becoming a fire district,
With you.
we got notice that Fire District 1 is starting a process to dissolve theirs, and I believe they're planning on meeting with everybody and still trying to provide all the services, but they're going, we got notice last week that they're starting a process on that, and that's going to take a few years, but they're going to start that. And that's all I have. Doug?
Just had Fairmount Township meeting last Thursday, and Commissioner Culverson, when he's talking about the tax exempt property, that gap just keeps getting bigger every year when the reappraisal is done. You know, I remember when it was 2-point-some billion, now it's at the 3-point-some. That's a huge gap to put on the homeowner to make up the difference. Because, like I said, the government's still going to run it, and you're going to run tax exempt property.
And you know, the trade-off has always been they offer jobs
Yeah.
instead of paying taxes. But in the old days, that might have worked. You know, the study that said a dollar bill is transferred 8 times, you know, within a community before it goes out. Today's different. You know, people don't buy locally. They have Amazon deliver everything to their house. So the dollar bill changing hands 8 times in a community isn't true anymore.
Now the
Not
taxes are
everybody
collected.
that works at these
And look at all of
facilities lives in the state.
look at the bridge.
And you look at
Look at the bridge.
And you look at the employee parking lots, and the majority of tags are not from Leavenworth County.
Right.
So it's not working today.
That's fact. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Doug, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay. I get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Cons?
Aye.
Vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
All righty, we have a work session. Don't want to go right into it.